So welcome to this first panel this afternoon, From Seed to Star, What Does It Take? We will discuss and try to uncover the key element of success for small startups that are growing and becoming major export companies. From Sting's point of view, we know that there are so many key elements involved in this journey. And we know that some companies do really make it and some don't. Some have a long journey of questionable progress. Some people attract the right money, even companies attract the right money at the right time, and some don't. Some build fantastic teams, and some don't. And some bring groundbreaking technology to the market, and some follow the market as a me too company. The clean tech sector is so differentiated between different segments of the market, which all have their own requirements on business models, business strategies, teams, technology, and business models. So what does it take? Let us discuss this afternoon with our experienced entrepreneurs and investors, how we build companies and value. I first want to introduce the panel members. First, we have Lassi Nopponen, first investor to and former chairman of Wind Finland. Lassi has, as an investor, seen how much it takes, but also by becoming active in the company, has had the chance to evaluate the options available for companies with high growth targets and secured several rounds of large capital. Paul de Kramer, head clean tech investment practice at Capricorn Venture in Belgium. Paul heads the activities steered towards the clean tech sector in early and mid-stage investment. He currently is and has been serving in a number of board of directors in various European public and private companies in more or less all of the different clean tech sectors. Erik Jaremalm, founder and vice president of Midsummer Sweden, a company that has introduced a groundbreaking technology in manufacturing solar cells at very low cost. Midsummer has elected to maintain a low-key profile during this first part of the journey. Erik has been through several fundraising rounds and built a very promising company. Number 4, Mike Santolo, California, member of the Clean Tech Circle, a team of experienced Silicon Valley entrepreneurs with deep early-stage technology investment experience. Mike has worked in a number of startups, among them what later became Yahoo Mail. Have been active angel investor and is a co-founder of the Clean Tech Open, the US leading competition for clean technology startups, which has provided mentorship and workshop services to nearly 200 ventures, clean tech startups. And finally, Anders Brännström, president and CEO of VTT, Volvo Technology Transfer, Sweden. Anders and his team at VTT is claimed to have made the most investments within the clean tech sector in Sweden and have done several syndication setups and look more on the mid to expansion phases. During this panel, I will also invite you with questions, and we have running mics that will pick up your questions, so we'll all hear them. First, I will ask you all, could you just give a very, very short comment on the situation we've seen where clean tech segment have been growing, and we saw from the Alexander presentation that investments are increasing between 2007 and 2008. Is this something that will continue to grow, or are we looking at a clean tech bubble in the way we saw it in the ICT industry? Lassi, if you would care to start.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think clean tech will be the first space in a way to feel the relaxation on the financial markets. versus some other technology areas. I think the other thing is that clean tech is it's not an industry in its own right, but rather a feature in almost any business, whether it's environmentally performance is high or low, and it's going to get integrated into the industry. So for the time being, I think clean tech is going to be the first industry, if you like, to feel the relaxation of the capital markets.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting. And Paul?
I think that in general the trend is up for clean tech, but of course in each trend you have ups and downs. And currently we are in a down period, but this is not the first down period. We have seen down periods in the beginning of 2000 or after 2001, and also at the end of the 90s, especially for some clean energy sectors. But I think the trend is up, and it's also supported by social and geographical developments. What's also important, I think an important trend we see is that the globalization is taking place in clean tech, and it's going very fast. Just to give you an example, I think that China and the US will become very important in the solar field. And we see already today in the European market that some big companies are closing manufacturers here or production units here in Europe to set up new manufacturing units in China or in Asia in general and in the US. So I think we see globalization, and overall this will support the clean tech and the clean technology developments, and I'm very confident that we will move from the current down period to a new high cycle in the coming years.
Mm-hmm. And Eric, from your point of view and from your horizon, developing Midsummer.
Yeah, I think you should have a long-term view, and in that sense, I think if you say there was an ICT bubble, I don't think it was an internet bubble. I think internet is still here, and in the same way, if you look at clean tech, as you saw from WWF's presentation before, that you have the energy need will increase, and especially in the developing world, which means that cost will be very important. But if you have a clean energy or energy conservation scheme that is low cost, I think the future, if you don't just look 2-3 years, but if you look 10, 20 years, I think the future is very bright.
It will continue, yeah. And Mike?
Yeah, man, I think if by bubble we mean investments to get ahead of the market.
Exactly, yes.
We're seeing, I think, some small bubbles. You know, solar and biofuels will be 2 in the U.S. I think we're seeing them corrected. I think the long-term trend for clean tech investing is still pretty good, but obviously it's been a big downturn in 2009. And at least in the U.S., if you look at the numbers, later stage funding for clean tech is way down, but early stage is not down as much. So I think if you're an early stage entrepreneur, the situation is still pretty good.
Would you say that small bubbles will be related to the fact that there will be constantly new technology introduced that would replace what was supposed to be seen as the latest technology?
Yeah, I mean...
so investments really jump from one to the next?
Yeah, I mean, and I think, seeing a lot of early stage clean tech companies, I think it's always been surprising how concentrated venture funding has been in a few categories. I think there are a lot of sort of less sexy categories like energy efficiency that probably deserve more funding. So hopefully as the investment community gets more experience, they'll start spreading those dollars more widely.
Mm. And Anders, from your perspective, having done quite some investments lately, or for a long time, I would say.
We think that, of course, there is different sectors within the clean tech space that have different cycles and different conditions. But I think there are elements of bubbles, but very much related to the oil price development. Where the oil price is going upwards rapidly, as it was at 140, of course, that drives valuation of related companies, whilst at $70 per barrel, you have a completely different valuation. So in that sense, you may see bubbles, but there is the way most of us read it, there is a long-term demand for certain changes, and there will always generate markets. So there is a spaces where there are opportunities to long-term to invest.